Hello and welcome to a little recent pickups video. I know I don't do these that often because I can't really keep track of what I buy that often. But recently I was down in town and just walked around and went into a couple of old movie/game stores and just bought little random stuff, and I want to show that off. And the first one I was in is a store that I've never been in. And when you're on the outside, it has like a wall with movies, and on the top of it, like right at the top, there's like a single line of porn, just good old porn. And I went, all right, it just has little porn. Like most physical DVD shops these days have some porn, at least the ones in my local area, so I'm not worried about that. I went into the store, and like 1/3 of the store is like dedicated to movies, normal movies, games, and CDs and Blu-rays and that stuff, and just 2/3, the rest of the store is just porn. Just porn. All is just fucking porn. And it was quite impressive. But I found a couple of games and some movies, normal movies, not porn. I still got internet, man. I can do. The one that I'm most excited to get, because he had some really cheap game and a couple of really cool ones. And one that I was really excited to get was Alice Madness Return, the sequel to the American McGee's Alice for PC. And this just looks like such a cool little hack and slash adventure kind of game, and for the price I got this for, like usually when I see this online it's kinda expensive, but I got this dirt cheap, really happy with it. Unfortunately, I think that the online pass to get the digital version of American McGee's game, so you can play it on PS3, is expired or has been used. But that's no problem. I already own a digital version of this game where that comes with it. But now I'm just happy to have a physical version of it, if that makes sense. Another game, really cheap for what it is. Sonic, Sega All-Stars Racing. A racing game with Sega characters and Sonic as the frontman. And I think I own All-Star Racing Transformed digitally, which is a fun racing game. And this one, again, really cheap. It's probably going for a lot more than what I paid for it. So happy to have that. Another game is Tenku C, which when I watched the C set or whatever you call it, I thought it was gonna be like a ninja game with zombies, but that's not the case. I think the Tenku, I think that's a series of like stealth ninja games. That I felt like I remembered, but the C just made me think like it was gonna be zombie based. But from what I can read in the manual and on the back of the box, that does not appear to be the case. But I just thought so. Sue me. Next one was a game that I already own, but this again, just to get a steel case version of it, is Alien vs Predators, and I think the steel case is really cool. You can pick between the alien or the predator to be the front cover of the thing. Let's just see. Now it's the predator, but I prefer the alien movies, so ta-da! Let's use that one instead. And the final game is the limited collector's edition of Fable 2. Like, I love Fable, the Fable games. Fable 2 is like one of my favorite Western RPGs, and getting the limited collector's edition for dirt cheap. Don't know what this comes with, but I mean, I'm just happy to have this. Like, it comes with like an extra disc I can see, and what else, I don't know. Maybe there's been like a version where you get like a figure or something, or I don't know really. But this was just so cheap I couldn't help myself. I already think I have like a Game of the Year version of Fable 2 and an ordinary version of Fable 2, so this is my third version of Fable 2, which just shows how much I really love this game. And not only did I get a couple of games, I also bought a couple of movies. Whoops, that one's for that pile. 3 movies. First one is, they're all related to Dario Argento, which has made like some crazy awesome horror movies, and also one of my favorites, which is Suspiria. I love that movie. I really love that movie. That use of color and just the story and everything, I really love that. But I bought this, An Eye for Horror, which is a documentary about Dario Argento and his movie making, and I'm curious to see this, to see if you can get any like interview with him, get into his mind and his actors and whatever, and just I think there's a lot of people like John Carpenter makes an appearance in this, and I think they're interviewing him as well as because Dario Argento has inspired so many movie makers, and this could be really fun to watch. And of course, I also bought a couple of movies that I haven't watched of Dario Argento, and Kato Nine Tails, which I don't know. The cover is a little troubling, but again, it's probably like he always makes these like really horrifying movies, and excited to see what that is about. And The Wax Mask, a movie from Sergio Stilvalenti. I'm not sure how you pronounce that name down there, but Dario Argento is on the name, so I think he has something to do with this. Again, I think this is about a killer who wears a wax mask and is just terrorizing town, and it looks like it could be fun. Good old fun. And the fun thing about the little pawn store, like there's this nice old little gentleman who is probably someone's grandfather sitting at the counter, and I went up with my pile of games and movies, put it on. They were all empty, so we had to find every single disc, and it's fine. They often do that, so I just I walked around a bit the store, studied the pawn as you do, just for personal now. So I walked around and looked at what kind of pawn he had, and it was so weird. And he had this little area that was like a small door with no door, not door, what do you call that? A door frame with no door. And at first I thought it was like something into a private area or employer's area, but then I like peeked my head inside and I saw, oh, there's more movies in there, and then I just saw big black letter said animals and a little smaller like sub-genre called horse, and I just did the biggest U-turn you can imagine, and I think it was just out of the center of my eyes I just caught a picture of a man with a piece of a horse, a body part of a horse in his mouth. And I was done exploring. I just got back up in front of the desk, and I waited there like a little schoolboy. I was too young for that. I was not ready for that. I don't think that's legal to sell. It shouldn't be legal to sell. But yeah, and this was not all I bought that day. I went down to another store that they're probably the most known store in my local area where you buy stuff from, like if you're into like old stuff, used games and whatever. But they're also the most expensive store, and they are like crazy with the prices. They are like not fair in the prices on the most part. But you can occasionally get a few good deals. And let me just show off what I got. First of all, I got a couple of books. First one was the Oblivion Elder Scrolls 4 strategy guide. And I got this like really cheap. There was no price on it, and the guy was nice enough to just like basically just give it for like a penny. It was no money at all, and I love this game. I want the strategy guides, and it's not the most, like when you look at the pictures, it doesn't seem like the most interesting strategy guide. It's not something I think I would just like go through just for fun as I do with some of my other strategy guides, but I'm still happy to have it, especially for the price. And another book I got was the I've been recently getting very much into the Warhammer 40k universe, and I got a codex for it. This is like for the use of the games with all the figures. I'm not into that because I can't paint and I don't really want to sit with all that shit, and that should also be super expensive. But I love the universe, I love the books, I love the games, and this is like also fun because it's not just like figures. There's like lore, and they talk about books and how different soldiers looks like and everything, and this is just really, really interesting. It is mostly about like the lore of the world. So I've seen these codex a lot of times, many cheap places, and I just thought, oh, it's just a rule book of the game. But it's mostly lore, so I think I'm gonna start collecting these as well, just to get like more into the universe of 40k. And also bought a couple of movies. Oops. I got some of it got free, because when you buy for a certain amount, then he lets you pick a couple of movies from a pile with what is it I'm trying to say? From a pile with like really cheap movies, and I picked up Painless, which I actually really want to rewatch. It's about this. I watched it years ago, so I can't really remember certainly, but I think it's about this dude who is getting sick, and he needs a donor to help fix him, a blood donor or something, because he has a rare blood type or something. I don't know what the idea is. And then he goes out to search for his real father, and you get like a background story for his father, who was in this monastery thing. I can't really remember exactly, but I think I remember really loving this movie. It was super interesting. And yeah, the two movies I got for free was Postal, the Uwe Boll movie based off the Postal games. And I'm not really... I played the second Postal game. I played that quite a lot. And that's my only exposure to Postal. And I've heard this should be really, really bad. But so I'm really curious to see this. Maybe with someone else, just to get drunk and watch a really bad movie. And yeah. And another one that I got for free was The Chair. A horror movie, I think. I'm not even sure about what it's about, but it was free, so I just picked it up. It looked like a horror movie, so I picked it up. And yeah, maybe this could be fun. A movie I paid for, and I was really happy for, because I wanted this, but it's been quite expensive online. They had like way cheaper in there, and I was so impressed that it was that cheap, because usually they are the most expensive you can get. And that is Hellboy 4K Blu-ray with both the theatrical release and the director's cut. I'm sorry about that glare. And I don't have a 4K Blu-ray I don't have a 4K Blu-ray player yet. That's a hard sentence. But when I'm getting the PS5, there's also gonna be 4K Blu-ray built in that. So I'm kind of bought a couple of 4K Blu-ray movies. I can't speak right now. Just to like be ready and to see what the difference is. And Hellboy is one of those that I really wanted. I think this is definitely in my top 10 movies of all times. I love the first Hellboy movie. It is so fucking awesome. And getting the 4K version is gonna be awesome. And the final thing I bought in there was this, the vinyl of the Jesus Christ Superstar. And yeah, I mean, I love that musical. I have the DVD with Ted Neely, I think his name is, the lead singer, or the guy who plays Jesus Christ. And it's one of my favorite musicals movies ever, and it is so wonderful. And I'm not a religious person, so I don't know what my point was with that. But it's really cool. I really love this musical, and I love it despite not being a religious person. And the cool thing about this is that Ian Gillan, I don't know if you can see his name on it. I cannot see shit myself. Ian Gillan, who is the lead singer of Deep Purple, is the one who sings as Jesus in this musical, and that is so fucking awesome. I know Ian Gillan have a couple of has something to do with the Jesus Christ. I don't know if he wrote any songs or if he just helped play it or something. But to have like the full version where Ian Gillan is the fucking Jesus Christ on the on a vinyl, that is so fucking awesome. Unfortunately, the vinyls were a bit bent, but other than that, they look in like good condition. So I have them under press right now between a couple of books, because that's what I read online you should do. And hopefully they will play a little better, because when I first played them, they were like and didn't sound that great. So maybe after a couple of days in press, they'll sound better. But the final thing I think I just got in the door today, as of this recording, was the VR game, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Complete Edition. This game released quite a while ago, back on digital, and it looks so fucking awesome. And when they announced they were going to make a physical version with some bonus content, I was so ready to buy this. I mean, I need a reason to like take out my VR headset for the PlayStation again. And this looks like it's... I've just heard a lot of people say this is like the definitive game to get on your VR system, and I am hyped to play this. I'm really excited to play this. So maybe I'm gonna do that later today. I don't know if I'm gonna have the time. Yes. And I think that was it for this pickup video. I cannot talk like for shit today. It's really bad. But yeah, if you've been sticking through the bad English, I'm really happy. You're a real hero. Thanks for watching, and take care.